Brilliance Audio.
Maybe She'll Stay by Robyn Lucas. Performed by Paige Reisenfeld. It's not technically a walk of shame if you're driving back home, right? Nancy Jewell tried to convince herself of that one last time before slipping back into her date night dress. It had met all her requirements the night before. Short to show off her gloriously long tanned legs. Cerulean, her favorite color, with a dark greenish sheen that shimmered in different lighting, and perfectly tailored to her busty figure, creating the illusion of a waistline and a backside. She liked to think of it as her mermaid dress, luring men in with a swish of her hips until they gave her what she wanted. Now, it was nothing more than a reminder that she'd seriously messed up. Maybe that was her problem this morning. She'd gotten just what she'd wanted out of Keith, a gloriously passionate night, but she'd been sloppy enough to fall asleep instead of leaving shortly afterward like she always had. She'd felt all romantic after spending the weekend at his youngest sister's rustic wedding. It had been in an old barn, illuminated by candlelight and lanterns, their glow warm against the cool fall night. The never-ending champagne had sedated her sensibilities. She had only meant to pacify Keith with a few minutes of cuddling. Instead, she had been more tired than she'd estimated and was now going to miss a coffee date with her best friend and possibly be late for her first class of the week. Keith's house was a pin-drop silent, ultra-modern monstrosity of glass and steel in a high-end suburb nestled in the farthest corner of Athens, Georgia. She'd visited only a handful of times, all late-night rendezvous, and never considered how ridiculously bright and suspiciously clean his place was until witnessing it in the late-morning sunlight. His massive bedroom took up half of the first floor, and if she'd had time, or cared more, she would have poked around. Keith, on the other hand, had been gone when she'd woken moments earlier. His side of the bed cold, the crumpled pillow and sheets the only evidence he'd been there. Nancy wondered if she should have felt something more than meh when she'd noticed his absence, but it was all she could muster. His purpose had been served, and now it was past time for her to leave. It wasn't like they were dating or anything, and they sure as hell weren't married. They'd already tried that 17 years ago. Their marriage had lasted less than 6 months, a few weeks longer than their passion had burned, but they'd kept in touch throughout the years, eventually finding each other's beds every now and then when they weren't with other people. This latest frenafit period with Keith had been going on since Halloween, when she'd drunk-dialed him on a whim. He'd met her for dinner the very next day. It worked for her. It seemed to work for him as well, or so she thought, unsure of what his absence meant. Was he an early morning runner? Did he have a meeting or have to be in for work? She vaguely remembered something about him now being a CrossFit fanatic. His lean 45-year-old body definitely showed it, so maybe he'd left for a session. Either way, she'd text him after her class to make sure they were good. As she stumbled onto the cold marble bathroom floor, she heard a door close, followed by footsteps and rustling. It was a little relieving knowing he'd returned. She wasn't sure why, and didn't really have the desire to unpack it. She was simply glad he had, and continued on with her bathroom necessities. After several minutes, a kettle whistled, followed by a whir of crunching and grinding. The glorious, rich, earthy smell of coffee followed. Pour-over? She hadn't quite pegged him as a pour-over type of guy, but it would be no surprise. He proudly sported a man bun and well-groomed beard. It didn't take Sherlock Holmes-level sleuthing to put 2 and 2 together when Keith had shown up to their most recent reacquaintance date in a bespoke suit, complete with matching vest and pocket square.